Welcome back and welcome to Homes Today. Here we provide you all sorts of valuable information on and about your homes, whereby you can gain knowledge about buying and selling your homes and what exactly is involved. Homes Today on our screen is presented here by Miss Audrey Forshey, who is a RE/MAX realtor as well as an advisor. This week, Audrey has a three-way conversation with two of her buddies, her partners, namely Damien and John. All these three professionals are caught on our camera with a message on the appraisal management companies. Beautiful. Let's view that.
Hello friends, thank you for joining us again today on Homes Today. My name is Audrey Forshey and I'm a RE/MAX agent in Montgomery County, Maryland. Today I have my friends John Osipchak and Damien Gladys, and they're both appraisers. And we really like to talk about appraisals a lot in real estate because they are the backbone of the value of our real estate that we own. And they're here to answer some questions for us. We're going to talk about what we call appraisal management companies. And those are the companies that will manage appraisers and send them out from the bank to do the appraisals on your property when you're selling it or buying the property. So we want to talk about what's reasonable and what you should expect and what should happen with an appraisal management company. In the old days, we didn't have such a thing, and the banks dealt directly with the appraisers. And now that we have the appraisal management company, there are some different rules and some different fees, and we want to make sure that you understand what you're paying for and what's happening when you're having your home appraised. So first, let me ask you, or say to you both, thank you for coming and being with me today on the show.
Thank you for having us.
I'd like for you to define to me what is an appraisal management company. What is it that they do?
The appraisal management companies are, they appraise the administrating the assignments, the appraisal assignments. As you said earlier, they're coming from the lender. So anybody who wants to buy a home or refinance that goes through a lending, the lending industry has these companies, they call it appraisal management companies.
Okay.
And they administrate or manage the appraisal orders.
Okay.
So when they send an order out, it goes to the regular appraisal, and then appraisal accepts the order, sends back to those appraisal management companies.
All right.
And that's how they administrate or manage the appraisal process.
So when an order comes in, so let's say I'm buying a house and my loan officer sends out to the appraisal management company that we need to have an appraisal done, then do they send it to a lot of appraisers, or do they send it to one appraiser and then the appraiser says they can do it? How does that work?
There are many different ways for what I hear they're doing. And I experience also too, and John will say the same thing as well, they do broadcasting.
Okay.
So they can have, let's say, 10, 100, thousands of appraisers in, let's say, a specific area that where we are, they can send a broadcasting order out with the address of the property.
Okay.
And they said, this is what we have, who wants to accept this order?
Okay.
It can go also to a specific appraiser.
Oh, okay.
That has the criteria and enough knowledge to do an appraisal on that particular home. And they can send directly to that appraiser as well.
Okay, and so they're the management company and they take care of the appraisal. So they order the appraisal and then the appraisal comes back to the management company, or does it go back to the mortgage company directly? How does that work?
It goes, let's define first who is the client.
Okay.
So the client in the appraisal business is who engages or orders the appraisal. So the moment the AMC engages an appraisal order, that's the client. So the appraiser now has the obligation to send the appraisal only to the client that orders that appraisal.
And that would be the mortgage company.
That would be the appraisal management company.
Oh, the appraisal.
Right, whereas the mortgage company now doesn't have control of the process the way they've relinquished that control to the AMC of the appraisal process.
So then the AMC is the client of the appraiser?
Correct.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. So then they've got to send it back to the what we call the AMC,
The client.
the client.
That's correct.
And then the AMC, the client, sends it back to the mortgage company.
To the mortgage company.
That's
yes,
how that
correct.
works.
Loan officer,
Okay.
mortgage company, yes.
All right. And so I know that when I have my listings, I meet my appraisers. I let them in the door. I give my comparables, and I let my appraisers know where my seller and I came up with our price. I give improvements that my sellers have made, and that is information for the appraiser if they need it. They might not need it. They may use it. They may not. So I know that when I go to my appraisals, it seems like I have different appraisers all the time. I run into the same person once in a while, but do you feel like there are a lot of appraisers, or John, do you feel like there's a shortage of appraisers in the country, or what do you think?
Well, I can only refer to our area, and our area doesn't seem to be experiencing an appraiser shortage at all.
Okay.
When we were talking about broadcasting orders, you can see that sometimes you can see where they're broadcasting them to, because we end up talking to each other and we find out that we each got the same broadcast order.
Oh, you do?
So the world the Washington area, it doesn't seem to be experiencing an appraiser shortage at all at the moment.
Okay. And so if do you two work through AMCs?
We have other clients. We have clients like lawyers or estate lawyers, divorce lawyers, can be other independent clients.
So it just depends. It just depends if you accept it.
Well, what really goes down to is that the AMCs were brought in from the instrumentation of Dodd-Frank.
Right.
And when Dodd-Frank came about, the AMC model was supposed to be where they were supposed to manage the process. The real issue that we're having today is that instead of them managing the process, they're starting to ramp up what they call a staff appraiser. And that staff appraiser now is working directly for the appraisal management company. Not making the appraisal management company just a management company, but also making them an appraisal company itself.
Oh, I don't think I know that. Now, if I'm a listing agent, how am I going to know that? Am I going to know that, or is there a disclosure that needs to be done? There's no disclosure about that.
And the whole reason that the whole market came up as far as the sort of appraisal, they started that to start being more corporate of hiring staff appraisers now, working for the AMCs.
I see.
And the independent contractors like ourselves, me and John, we won't have as much business anymore. So these staff appraisers were working for them, offering things like 401k, dental insurance, general insurance. They pay for all the bills, so they're working for them.
I see.
Sounds like a good deal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they offer all these benefits
Yeah.
until you find out that you have to work 8 days a week.
8 days a week.
Yes.
But it's not it's not a good practice, as many appraisers like myself and John and other appraisers seen. It's going to be good as far as protecting the public trust, because now you're working for a company, and as an employer, you wanted to know the employees would deliver what they actually want. Now, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Are the staff appraisers, are they licensed appraisers?
Yes, they're licensed appraisers.
Okay, but they might not have as much experience. Is that what it is?
That also too. There might be licensed appraisers, not certified appraisers.
Okay.
They might have minimum experience in the market. It can be any kind of appraiser that they're willing to work for somebody else.
So if I am a buyer, or I'm going to get a loan, do I care who is doing my appraisal? Do I want a full-time licensed appraiser? Can I request that from my mortgage lender? Do you know?
Both should offer, whether the AMC is sending out a staff appraiser or hiring either Damien or myself, they should be full-time qualified appraisers.
Okay.
That's one of the things that they are actually required to find out and to facilitate.
Okay.
The problem with the staff appraiser model is that they're getting all the assignments that the bank feels have lower risk, and they're sending out all the assignments that they feel have a higher risk. They're sending it out to independent appraisers because they don't want to take the liability for those loans.
Oh, that makes sense. I see how that would work.
There's also other issues besides having the high risk versus the low risk, is that there's certain certifications that appraiser signs when they do the appraisal. One of them needs to be unbiased.
Right.
So it's a big question here now. If you're working for somebody, an employer, are you going to be unbiased versus not work that you do? Because now you're working for somebody that has have you as an employee and pay you. So how unbiased that would be, that appraisal, if you don't perform what you need to perform, what they actually AMC, which their clients are the lenders. And if the lenders, some lenders also own some AMCs.
They do.
They do.
That seems like it could be a conflict.
Exactly. And that's the issue that we also bring it up to the public and tell them this is what happens here. So, and that's now there are a lot of rules and regulations that actually not follow when they're doing the appraisal. And we raising our voices and saying this is not going to lead to a very good result here for having staff appraisers. But again, they're doing their own things, and now it's getting to a big problem.
Is it something that the public can talk to maybe their representatives about? I mean, is it something that they really should be concerned about?
We're
Yes.
trying to get more people involved in this process, because what has happened since Dodd-Frank is the appraisal fee, the appraiser's charging hasn't changed so much. It's the AMC has added an additional fee to the appraisal product. And the fee that is being allocated to the AMC doesn't seem to be, they're trying to work their fee off of our fee, and unfortunately it's causing our fee to be paid lower than what they're collecting.
So then they are adding money to the consumer as well on
Right.
top of that too. So so when do they disclose to the consumer that they may have, I guess in the original loan package, they have to disclose all the fees?
They don't.
They don't?
They don't, and that's another thing that we keep complaining and saying to the public, that there's no transparency regarding the fees that will be adding to the appraisal fee. For example, if I do an appraisal with an X amount of money for that assignment and accept that assignment, then many appraisal management companies, AMCs will call them, the adding an additional fee that can be 40%, 50%, sometimes 80% above what we get paid. And now the problem is that when a consumer or a borrower goes to a closing table and sees on Hard 1 appraisal fee, they're seeing the appraisal fee including the fee that the appraisal management company is actually charging on top of our fee.
Right, and then as the buyer actually makes their loan application, the appraisal fee is one of the fees that they pay up front. They pay for a credit report
report
and
and
they
appraisal.
pay the appraiser up front. So I'm assuming that the appraisal, the AMC, or the appraiser's already been paid, and then at some point when they get to the closing table is what you're saying, that on the settlement fee or the settlement sheet there's a upcharge of
There is
things.
there might be an upcharges. Some of them they charge up front and tell them how much going to be the whole price.
Okay.
And some of them can be changing because they might say that they need a drop-by after that. They need more verification of the value for another appraiser to do another appraisal, 2 appraisals per homes. Many times I come to borrowers or homeowners and they tell me, I just had an appraisal done a couple
really?
days ago. And when I call my client, they said, well, we have 2 appraisals for this home need to be done. I don't know the reason why, maybe because the bank feels it's a high risk for the home. Many reasons they can explain why. But I feel many times there are upcharges and unnecessary fees for the homeowner and the consumer when it goes to the appraisals.
And so I guess you feel like maybe talking to the bank directly would be easier or a more transparent transaction for the consumer, or what are your thoughts on that? What do
well-
you think would be better?
I think talking with NAR is one of the big organizations.
Right.
Real estate agents like yourself, brokers, I think consumers in general, educate them
Right.
what's happening with the process when you're refinancing, buying, or doing anything with the homes, that including the lending industry.
Okay.
What's happening with the fees and why they pay so much, explain and be more transparent. And that's why we brought this topic here today, to explain and understand,
Okay.
make the consumer understand what's happening behind closed doors.
Okay. So
John, I think you.
Yeah.
So here in Virginia, if you go through closing and you pay and you're done with your closing, your settlement, and then next thing you know, you go and you have your copy of your appraisal, in Virginia, we're required to put what we're being paid on our report.
Right.
So now you can see what the appraiser actually has gotten paid, and then you can look at your closing settlement statement, and then when you see your settlement statement, you can see what you actually, the difference of what the appraiser was paid and what the appraisal management company was paid.
So you can see the fee that they've been paid and
Right.
kind of the upcharge, if you
That came
will.
through it, but we don't get that information.
Oh.
We actually been told by many of the AMCs not to include an invoice in our appraisals because they don't want that fee to be disclosed to the owner.
Or display, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't
Isn't it?
understand. I don't understand
Well,
why that
they
would
don't,
matter.
they can't, that's the issue that we have, that there's no transparency.
Okay.
What's happening with the fees, so.
All right. Well, I guess we will try to talk to our lenders and try to talk to our clients and make sure that they know this. I thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much for
explaining this
having
to-
us.
Explaining this to all of us. Have a good day. See you next time.
Thank you.